Let's go. I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Roll call.
Councilmember Chang? Here. Councilmember Davies?
Here.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard? Here. And Mayor Pogencourt?
Here.
Everyone is
She's here.
present, thank you.
Okay, could we stand, please? I'd like to take a moment of silence before we call up Pastor for Charles White, who passed. And he was a fantastic volunteer in our community in the arts, depot, whatever, he was there. And the passing is sad, but he's at peace right now, so thanks. Okay, let's take that moment of silence. Okay, and Pastor Rob Brooks from the Nazarene Church is doing our invocation.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, today we thank you. I thank you, Lord, for your presence in our lives, Lord. We are grateful for the opportunity so many had yesterday to gather for Easter Sunday services, to give thanks and to celebrate the resurrected Christ. We are thankful for the journey that has taken us from Ash Wednesday through Lent into this Easter season. Today, Lord, we pray for and mourn with millions of people all around the world at the loss of Pope Francis. We pray for comfort and peace, yes, for our world, for our country, and our city. Today, Lord, we thank you for those who serve here in Tehachapi. We pray for the work that they do to serve the citizens of this great community. Lord, please give them wisdom and insight as they do the city's business and lead during trying times. May the decisions that they make in this place better our community for everyone who calls Tehachapi their home. Lord, bless our mountain. May we see with your eyes those who need care, those who need comfort, those who are hurting. May we be the hands and feet of Jesus to those that are in need, whether it be the policymakers or individuals who reach out and lend a hand personally. May those efforts lift others and make life better for all. Bless this meeting and those who conduct it and those who share in it. May the good work that is done here honor you, Lord. And we give you thanks for all these things. In your name.
Amen. Thank you, that was beautiful. Can you do the pledge, please?
Please stand and report. Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All items with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by city staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion if no member of the council or audience wishes to comment or ask questions. If a comment or discussion is desired by anyone, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the city council concerning the item before action is taken. Staff recommendations are shown in caps. Do I have any public comments regarding the consent agenda? Yes?
Good afternoon. My apologies for being late and not communicating earlier. I represent Honor Flight Kern County, and this board.
Could I stop you real quick?
Okay.
So we're on the consent, not
Oh,
public
I thought
comment.
this was
So
public
just
comment?
give us 1 minute and we'll get to you.
Okay.
Just sit right there.
Just the order of, yeah.
Sorry.
Rule of order. It's okay. You'll be right next. Thanks.
Okay, any public comment regarding the consent agenda? Public? Council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Chong?
Yes.
Councilmember Davies?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Power?
Yes.
Mayor Bogenfeld?
Yes.
5-0 vote, motion carried.
Okay, now we have public comment. Your turn.
You're up. Just a rule of order is all. Check one box at a time.
Totally understand.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mayor, board, city manager, I'm here representing Honor Flight Kern County. Last year, at my fundraiser, the city graciously donated a very large amount of money to my fundraiser that enabled a number of veterans to go back to Washington, D.C. to view their memorials. We don't fly if we don't fundraise. My next fundraise is coming up June 14th this year at Triassic Vineyards again. I brought a flyer in for Greg, and if you need copies, he's got it. And like last year, I'm looking for donations from all the different entities around the community. I've received some major donations already, but last year, you may not be aware, I broke my previous year's record by almost double by raising $43,000 in Tehachapi last year. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm looking to beat that number. As with everything, you want to beat last year's numbers. You graciously donated a ton of money, $13,500 last year. I don't know if the city's capable of doing that again, but I'm looking for a donation in any monetary amount because every dollar goes towards sending veterans back. And I apologize for the late notice and not getting on the agenda. I know that you may or may not discuss this, but if possible, I'd like to be on the agenda for next month so that we could have an open discussion about it. Thank you very much.
All right.
Any
Thank you.
questions?
No, I have been on the Honor Flight, and it's quite a unique and wonderful experience.
We just came back from our 51st flight about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I went on number 50 and I went on number 44, once as a guardian, once as a veteran. It's a different experience either way. It really is impactful for veterans, especially Vietnam veterans. When we came back into Meadows Field, the last two flights, the last flight that I was on and this last one this last week, there was 400 or 500 people at Meadows Field that greeted us and thanked us and welcomed us home and waved flags. And it means so much to Vietnam era veterans because we didn't get that when we came
Right.
home. It was a totally different society, different atmosphere. And that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about this.
You should be. And I remember that distinctly when I was young, and it stuck with me ever since. And I said, those men were just doing their job.
It's amazing.
I had a quick question.
Sure.
How much does it cost for the vets? How much does it cost for the assistants that go
The
with it?
veterans, it's about $1,500 for one veteran, and it's currently $1,200 for a guardian. It's been that cost for, gosh, probably 10 or 15 years.
It hasn't
And
changed.
as with everything, we're looking I'm actually on the board of directors too. We're looking at, unfortunately, having to increase costs because our costs go up. And one thing that you may not be aware of that I think is very important, our charity, we're a recognized 501(c)(3). No one on our board of directors gets paid. None of our committee chairs get paid. None of our volunteers, obviously by the term, get paid. So of the money that's donated, 100% of it goes in some form or another directly to sending veterans to DC.
Do you know how many vets from Tehachapi went this last trip?
2 that I know of for sure. Bill Snow was one, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name.
Mr. Davies and
My
his
father,
dad.
Harry
Your
Davies.
father?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they both just got back.
Yeah, I
'Cause
was
I
a
was at the
guardian.
thing.
And while we're talking, the city did not pay my way. I did not use any city funds to go this. This is all on mine and through the American Legion. But it was a wonderful, I was just torn apart. I've never been back there through that. And my dad was a Korean War veteran. And when we went to that, it was amazing. My dad had tears in his eyes, and It was a wonderful event that Wednesday. It was a long day.
They've now added, you probably noticed, they've now added names to the Korean War Memorial. That wasn't there before. They've been working on that when I was back there a couple of years ago. So there's, just like the Vietnam Wall now,
Yeah.
there's names at the Korean Memorial.
I wish we would have, everybody says if you see that memorial at night, it's really breathtaking. And we were there during the middle of the day, but what an awesome opportunity. We went to the state capitol and met with our Congressman Vince Fong. It was just, there's a lot of teary-eyed vets there. And thank you for what you do, Steve. It was
Well, I like doing it.
yeah.
Like Kevin McCarthy, Vince Fong met our group in the Capitol,
Right.
gave us a tour of the chamber, and by the way, it's a lot smaller than it looks on TV.
It is.
And then he spent the better part of 2 or 3 hours with us in the rotunda. Not too many congressmen do that.
No. It was a great, it was wonderful. My
Yeah.
dad really enjoyed it, so
Thank you very much for your time.
thank you so much.
Thank you. And I look forward to your next presentation, by the way. City clerk reports, that was all on consent. Finance director report, that was all on consent. We have community engagement director's report, and that's Mr. Budge.
Not on consent. Not on consent. No.
Not on consent. No, you're not consentful.
Good evening, Mayor Pokencourt, Council.
Good evening.
Usually, as I say, I like to have something fun. This is something that's very appropriate timing-wise. Earth Day is tomorrow, and this is also something that's very enjoyable. We've had an anonymous donor in the community donate a total of $15,000 to the city. They made a few requests to think about beautification, possibly adding trees, and with this recent railroad park project. Can you scroll to the photos? So here's a picture of Railroad Park, and then here's what the new beautification rejuvenation project that Public Works has headed up by removing some of the old trees that were dying and became very dangerous, having to be cut back, and Public Works felt it was best to remove those trees and replace them with large box trees that were brought in from either Northern California or Oregon. That should do very well here. Well, as we got through with that project, this money became available, the $15,000 total. We were talking about with Public Works, was there a need? And we actually have room for 2 more full-size trees. This $15,000 will cover 99.9%. It's a $16,000 project to add 2 more full-size trees like these. And it'll add shade to this park that gets used daily by people that stop by, picnic, eat lunch, they grab their takeout, and enjoy that park. So we'll add some more shade, and it'll just be a great addition. And this donor was very happy that we move forward with their recommendations and requests. So we just wanted to make sure that you were aware of this donation that came in from the community member that wants to remain anonymous, and how we use those funds with their approval.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So any questions regarding the project? And the trees have already been ordered, so they're just a few weeks out, and that park will have a total of 5 new trees in it. So,
Fantastic.
Great.
yeah.
Not very often that somebody donates money to government. I think this is a reflection of what's going on at the city, and we value that relationship with our community, and we appreciate the donation. And I know who the donor is, so if you want to know, ask me later.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, and that was information only, so there's no vote. Can we have the assistant manager reports, Corey? Or Mr. Costello, sorry.
Good evening, Mayor Pokencourt and council members. So tonight, I have the approval of an ordinance to adopt the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection Fire Hazard Severity Zone maps for the city of Tehachapi. So went through a lot of the details in the introduction of this ordinance. We talked a lot about how these maps are created, why these maps are created. I do have a few additional notes that there's some legislation. I know Councilmember Smith had asked about when we have these very high areas. So we have our high, which is our very high, which is red, our high, which is that orange, and then the yellow is the moderate. Most of the impact goes to the very high. And when it comes to building codes, a few minor building code changes in the high portion. There's some real estate disclosures that are now included when you sell a home in those areas. And there's some hardening requirements coming down in 2028 for some of those areas in terms of vegetation management, zero zone, which is stuff right up against your house. And so we'll be working with the Kern County Fire Department on that. So we got through a lot of the details last time. One of the questions that was posed was these areas specifically for us in the very high tend to be more of the low income areas. So what assistance is out there for home hardening requirements? So I'm a member of the League of California Cities Fire Insurance Working Group. There was a meeting last week and they went through some legislation that the League is supporting to address that. So there's one that is AB 888. This is Assemblymember Lisa Calderon. This is going to set up a grant program to reduce wildfire losses in California. It's going to be developed and paid for by the Department of Insurance to prioritize specific needs when awarding grant funds. So eligible applicants are individual cities, counties, and special districts. They have to meet specified criteria. Most of it centering around income level for the funding. The program is actually funded by 40% of the gross premium tax collected from property and casualty insurance above the 2023 amount. So as these rates have gone high, some of this money now per this bill is required to go into this fund to assist with these home hardening efforts. So the Department of Insurance also has to collect performance data and publish a report on the program's effectiveness every 2 years starting in 2027. So that bill is out there. It's currently in the Assembly Committee on Insurance. SB 616 is going to potentially by Senator Dave Cortese was going to establish the Community Hardening Commission as an independent unit within the Department of Insurance to develop and implement wildfire mitigation standards and guidelines. There'll be specified members, including the insurance commissioner, state fire marshal. They'll be advised by a council of local representatives and fire chiefs, and they'll develop new community hardening standards that reduce wildfire risk and improve access to fire insurance. That's currently in the Senate Committee on Judicial Insurance and Rules. Assemblymember Tom Lackey, just to our south in the Antelope Valley area, has proposed AB 300, which will actually change. These maps aren't actually new. They started in 2012, I believe. They just haven't been updated. The current law says they're supposed to be updated every 8 years. That hasn't happened. Actually every 5 years that hasn't happened. Assemblymember Lackey's bill will make that every 8 years. And you ask, well, why longer? It's because the state's not meeting the 5-year timeline as it is. So he actually wants to extend that out. So maybe they'll meet the timeline. So that one is currently sitting in a committee as well for natural resources, emergency management, parks and wildlife. And then AB 261, this one is actually going to impact these maps specifically. So whether it's every 5 years or 8 years, there's going to be an enhanced process because these maps were basically just given to us by CAL FIRE. And they said, here's the science, here's all of our calculations on wind, weather, fuel loads, that sort of thing, slope, and there wasn't a lot of input. This will actually set up kind of a requirement, so the state fire marshal he'll be authorized to confer with various entities, including public agencies, tribes, nonprofit organizations, on actions that might impact fire hazards in an area, and so entities can also provide information on wildfire safety improvements or other actions they've taken place, which will be considered when so let's say someone does a lot of hardening in maybe a high zone in the city, the next time around we can go and say, look at all the work that's been done in this high zone, this should be reconsidered, and they'll take that into consideration. So it's more of a public process for these maps, and that's AB 261. These are all being supported by the League of California Cities. This one's on the committee right now on natural resources and emergency management. So just want to throw those out there because some of those questions came up our last time around. But today, if you have any specific questions regarding process, we do have a few members of the Kern County Fire Department, the leadership, here to answer any more questions if you have them. But the recommendation tonight is to approve an ordinance to adopt the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection Fire Hazard Severity Zone map for the city of Tehachapi. Happy to answer any questions.
How do we reach out to the areas that will have that support from the state?
Yeah, if that bill was passed and the grant program's established, absolutely. I think what they're talking about doing is having cities or potentially county/county fire departments be sort of the recipient of the grant funds, and they would manage where that money goes. So folks would come to us, or maybe they come to the fire department for Tehachapi and say, this is what I have to take these trees out right by my house. I need, the financial assistance. So that's how the grant would be managed if this bill goes through, and it's a couple
Right.
years. But that's kind of what the thought process was in the last meeting that I had, was they're looking at doing a kind of a grant program managed by the local entity, whether that be the county fire department or the city through the county fire department. So at that point, we'd be able to reach out and message those people. And then once areas are identified, I think that'll be it'll be a process for us. If there's areas identified, homes that need, maybe they have that zero space isn't there, then that's where we could be able to say, this has to be removed or trimmed, and here's the ability to get assistance for that. So again, we're depending if that's a bill's gonna pass or not, so
Okay.
we'll see.
Okay, do I have any comments from the public, the audience, council? Is that primarily District 1, which would be Phil's district? Is
Yeah,
that
all the
right?
Berry High sits, and basically, if you look at our residential communities impacted there, it is Arabian Estates and Ash Village are the two current residential communities inside the Berry High. Everything else is commercial in that area. And so future planning standards will change a little bit as well for those, should they develop in the future.
Okay, any other comments? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve, adopt an ordinance designating the fire hazard for severity zones.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Councilmember Chong?
Yes.
Councilmember Davies?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Power?
Yes.
Mayor Pokencourt?
Yes.
5-0 vote, motion carried.
All right.
Our next item is a much more fun map than the last one. This will be to, again, the adoption of an ordinance establishing a downtown entertainment zone in compliance with California State Senate Bill 969. If you want to go to the map on this page, so basically, as we discussed in the introduction, this map, this zone that we're looking, the entertainment zone we're looking to establish, would allow a, based on dates and times in our ordinance and potentially altered in the future via resolution by the council, this area would be open for off-site sales, so to speak, by licensed alcohol sellers within that area. So pretty much most of the restaurants, Stray Leaves, wine tasting room as well, would be allowed to, during special events, farmers market, Green Street Get Down, car shows, the Chamber of Commerce, would be able to sell alcohol for consumption outside of their business, as long as it empties directly into the entertainment zone. So that's why we sort of drew it to include the alley to make sure, we get the front doors of all those businesses along F Street. So this would, again, we're dictating the times and days of this operation, and it would reduce the need necessarily for a controlled beer garden area, but again, we would have to work with these businesses to opt into the entertainment zone, and then they would have to sell, they make sure ID checks, so we have a wristband, and then they'd have to sell in no plastic, no glass, no aluminum bottles or cans. It's got to be in a plastic cup, and everybody age verified. So we'll work with businesses that are impacted to get them on board. We already started speaking with the community engagement team about how we might do that. Possibly we'll purchase the wristbands like we did for Green Street Get Down a few years ago, and give those out so they have them change colors from time to time, week to week, and just communicate with them of what, maybe for farmers market, what the color is, this, just to reduce some of the costs on their side. And there'll be a little bit of education as well, but it's a pretty simple process for them to opt in, and they have to live by the standards of their alcohol license, so they can't sell beyond the time that they're currently limited, even if the event is going longer. But most of them, everything's wrapped up by about 10 p.m. I think most of them have their licenses about that time anyway. So that is, we haven't received, we've got some positive business feedback from this, haven't been any concerns, and this is an opportunity to bring alcohol sales in without necessarily bringing in competition directly to these businesses, and just with special events, include them more in these type of events. So that's kind of the update on that, and the recommendation tonight is to approve the ordinance establishing a downtown entertainment zone in compliance with California State Senate Bill 969. And happy to answer questions.
Do I have any comments from the public in the audience? Council?
Yeah, I have one. Had somebody come up to me today, is this gonna affect the Mountain Festival when they have the beer garden at the park?
No, because that's at the park, so it's not inside the entertainment zone.
Okay.
You can't, we looked at that initially, we thought, oh, maybe we could designate a bunch of areas as entertainment zones.
Yeah.
That way but the law says it's gotta be a business inside. So like Central Park would still have the same rules as far as beer garden,
Okay.
ABC, and that, same with our July 4th festival. I know the wrestling club does that for us, but they would still be under the same ABC guidelines because it's out of the entertainment zone.
Okay, and then one other question, Corey. Now that we're improving Railroad Park, it's gonna be very beautiful. We've used that in the past of, you know, when we need more room.
You know, the only issue there is there's no, I mean, we could potentially, we don't have a lot of events with alcohol at Railroad Park. You know, most of it's the craft fairs and that sort of thing, that are, let's say for Mountain Festival, for example, you know, TVAA operates that. There's usually not an event going on, like say at Green Street at the same time as Railroad Park, if that makes sense. So it's really not in the entertainment zone. And again, since it's not touching a lot of businesses except maybe one, it's not one that we, you know, could really include. It's just an odd shape because there's usually not alcohol in Railroad Park.
Right.
And if there is an event, we would just go through the same ABC procedures we do now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
You would also have the issue with Tehachapi Boulevard and
That
traffic
came
control,
up,
pedestrians. Let's just, I think you have it contained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And walking distance.
They wanted to try to like benefit as many businesses as possible inside that zone. You know, some are kind of on the edge, but they do sell, and if they're emptying into the entertainment zone, it would still be okay. So this was the map we came up. I worked with Chief Standridge on it to get, you know, law enforcement approval as well to make sure these made sense.
I just want to follow up with your question about interfering with Mountain Festival. If you look at the dates, the Mountain Festival Beer Garden closes at 4, and then the special entertainment zone opens up at 4 for the Get Down and Green. So there won't be a conflict with time either.
Yeah. Yeah, we scheduled Green Street Get Down to be that like right after the park stuff ends, to then do the concert right
Yeah.
after that.
The ABC license requires them to close an hour before the event does,
Mhm.
so that all the beer garden's emptied out. So there's no conflict with time either.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions?
No, not
Do I have
for
a
me.
motion?
I make the motion.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Chung?
Yes.
Councilmember Davies?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Power?
Yes.
Mayor Pokencourt?
Yes.
5-0 vote, motion carried.
Thank you.
Developmental Services Director, Jay? Oops, we got a different one. Okey doke. Mr. Norton.
Good evening, Mayor Cohencourt, council members. Tonight I bring the Warrior Park Exercise Equipment Award. The background on this is Parks and Rec had some surplus exercise equipment that they weren't using that was donated to the city of Tehachapi. So we took a conceptual project out to bid, and we opened bids April 1st. Great Western Installations was the low bid. It was in compliance with the public contract code. The fiscal impact is within budget, with the funds coming from the Park and Recreation Development Impact fees. So the recommendation for you guys is award the Warrior Park Exercise Equipment Project to Great Western Installations for the total bid amount of $68,445.01, and authorize the city manager to approve any necessary change orders up to a maximum of 20%. The way we laid it out was about 5 stations around Warrior Park, around the existing walking path, so there'll be 5 additional stations. Each station has 3 to 5 pieces of equipment. Here to answer questions if anyone has any.
Audience.
I have a question.
Sure.
So what exactly the exercise machines are? It says core exercise, what is it?
Play core, yeah, so it's the pull-up bars. It's frequently the stuff that you see at other parks. I know Bishop has similar facilities. So it's the pull-up bars, the hand exercise equipment,
Okay.
the leg exercise equipment. There's a couple, what was that?
They have it at Meadowbrook. A lot of this
Yep,
equipment.
they have some of the similar ones at Meadowbrook as well.
Okay.
So,
Any questions from the public? I can get
Sure.
that. Council?
There's, what a difference in range from 68,000, the highest bidder was 162,000.
There was a lot of bids on this one. We
Yeah,
typically
there
don't
was
see
1, 2,
6 or
3,
8
4,
bids
5,
either.
6, a lot of interest. But there was 2 of them that had an asterisk, mathematical and clerical errors.
3 did, correct. Yeah, a lot of times it comes down to the unit costs we base our stuff on.
Okay.
They just don't always tabulate correctly.
Oh, okay, but that was corrected, obviously, because the low bidder's
Yep,
still available.
correct.
Okay.
Have we used this company in the past?
No, we have not.
Okay. Background on it?
Yeah, they check out, they're out of Colorado, and compliance with our spec books, and after award, we'll go through the insurance and everything else, so.
Okay.
Public contract code mandates that we award to the lowest responsible bidder.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Now, we still go through a clearinghouse agency to get these bids, or is that other
No,
stuff?
that's for purchase of items.
Okay.
This is a public contract award.
Different.
Yep.
All right.
It's a great project. It's, you know, you've seen exercise equipment in various parks around the country, right? And so we already have the sidewalk that circumnavigates, you know, the park. And so this is 2 or 3 or 4, how many?
I think it's about
concrete-
five
Five
concrete pads.
stations, concrete
Correct.
pads, and TVRPD had these units in storage. And, you know, just, it kind of came about, and we said, hey, we'll take them. We'll put them to good use. And it's gonna be a great addition to that area, because the park is well used, and it's at the end of the Antelope Run, or a spur of the Antelope Run. And so a lot of people walk or jog, and they can now incorporate this into their daily routine, if so be. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Great.
So last council meeting, we donated tables and chairs to Parks and Rec, and now they're reciprocating it in kind almost. I love seeing this partnership of working with other agencies.
It actually, they were the first ones to make the donation to us.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I think this is great partnerships within the community, working smarter and saving money for our residents.
This is a direct result from the meetings that we've had over the past 14 months with TVRPD meeting on a regular basis.
Well, keep it up, it's outstanding, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Comments? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
I'll second. Councilmember Chung?
Yes.
Councilmember Davies?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Power?
Yes.
Mayor Pokempour?
Yes.
5-0 vote, motion carried.
Okay, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor Joan, Program
Thank
Court.
you. You're
A
welcome.
couple things for you this evening. One is I wanted to report that, you know, we have our Coffee with the Mayor event every month. And this last Thursday, we had a standing room only Coffee with the Mayor event. City Council was there, some executive staff members were there, and just an enormous amount of public participation. It was very encouraging, and we talked to people about all kinds of things from A to Z. Actually stayed late talking to people around 9:30, 9:45. That's when we wrapped it up. So just want to thank everybody for their participation, council, staff, and public. It's a great avenue to be able to talk to people, so thank you for that. Tomorrow is Earth Day, so tomorrow, Tuesday, is Earth Day. And Mr. Budge and his team and Public Works, Don Marsh, and others have put a lot of work into this. We have lots of volunteers that are going to be helping the city with cleanup. We have Caltrans coming down, District 9 from Bishop. They're going to be heading up some cleaning up efforts on Highway 202 and Tucker Road, so very excited about that. Key and Don are heading up some of the improvements there, or litter pickup in the Antelope Run area, and then Tehachapi Boulevard coming into town. Tehachapi Area Association of Realtors, love Tehachapi, and others. And it's always a great event. I know we have volunteers that are picking up litter on a regular basis, but this is a chance for people to get out and enforce and really show a big impact. You know, we live in the city is lots of wind, and you open your car door and napkins go flying, right? It's not always by on purpose, right? Litter, it's sometimes very accidental. So we're really happy about that. And then coming up on May 1st, we have pickleball with the police. So that's something very exciting that we're looking forward to right here, you know, on the other side of the wall behind Chief. As you saw coming in this evening, there was hardly any parking. And it's because the pickleball courts are being used, and our attorney just said we need to build more, and so I said, hold your horses a minute, let's, you sound like Key and others, and I'm like, hold on a minute, we're good for now.
That's a good thing.
It is really a good thing, and
If
I'm
the
super
weather's
happy, the pickleball courts, the exercise equipment, all the different things that we're doing, all the projects. And speaking of projects, can you come up to the podium? So I think everybody is probably aware by now, but Jay is leaving the city of Tehachapi. It's a bittersweet moment.
Yep.
Did I miss the vote on that?
Jay and I worked together for some 21 years, probably.
Wow.
18 or 19 at the city. And
You said you weren't gonna do
and all these different projects that we talk about and we approve over the years has Jay's fingerprints all over. And I can't thank him enough, and I'm very proud of him. He's the new Kern COG director, starting July 1. And so we're very proud of Jay and what he's done, and we want to thank him publicly for that service to our city, amazing service to our city, and wish him very good luck in the future.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you. Let me maybe just say the same thing. Greg and I have reminisced a few times now and had this moment repeated a couple of times. This is without question like the largest part of my career. I'm 25 years into a career as a civil engineer, and 21 of them have been, and we started a couple of months apart in '04. I'll tell the story if you guys will permit me. That Greg, I was with Boyle Engineering at the time, and we had an engineer named Claude Seal, who was the city engineer at the time, and maybe Phil, you might remember him. And he wasn't doing the best job for the city, and I'll just kind of, and Greg gets hired on to run all the projects for the city, and he goes to my boss. I'm 4 years out of school, a couple years after having a license, and he says, we want somebody cheaper and easier to push around. And
it worked.
And so Ben walked into my office.
Still pushing Jay around.
Ben walks into my office and said, I just finished helping you guys with the first sewage lift station there on Tucker Road. I remember being in, wasn't this room, but being in the room and answering your questions about about what we're building, and what that was. And anyway, and so 21 years later, the downtown.
Seems like yesterday.
Life goes on. You have kids, they grow up, they leave the house, all these things happen, and you look back and life just moves. And anyway, so it was one of those moments where it's the right open door for myself and my family, and but it's bittersweet to be sure. I've really enjoyed my time here and feel like I've had a real impact. I think when I left Boyle or AECOM at the time and came here to the city, one of the things I told people that I loved the most was that I got to shake the mayor's hand at the end of a project and know that something I had done had really changed and improved the community for the benefit of people. You get that in a small town in a way you don't get in a big town. You get that face-to-face moment. So thank you all very much. I'm around for a couple of weeks to help with the transition, and then
Jay's already got one foot out the door.
But I'll be around.
But seriously, is the relationship with Jay has been very special, obviously, as you can tell, being the new Kern COG director. It's going to benefit the city of Tehachapi, Kern County, and the region, right? Jay and Phil, others, such an integral part of Kern COG and keeping transportation dollars locally and projects that matter, $256 million for climbing lanes. That was a moment, right? The roundabout at Tucker and Highline coming soon, the new interchange potentially out at the summit, and on and on and on, right? It matters, and the leadership at the city of Tehachapi, under Jay's tenure has been quite amazing. But looking to the future, we have more to do than we have done, right? We have more to do than we have done. And that's where Dawn and Corey come in at this point. So I'm not going to replace Jay at this moment in time. I've asked Dawn Marsh and Corey Costello to fill his shoes as an interim basis. Corey's going to be taking care of the planning piece, and Don will be taking care of everything else, right? Which is engineering and inspections and all those different elements. Big shoes to fill,
Yep.
that's for sure. Takes 2 people to fill Jay's shoes. I'm pumping him up, by
Yeah.
the way.
Just 5'6".
But we'll see what the future holds, you know, when, you know, I feel like, you know, Tehachapi is somewhat of a talent factory, quite frankly. And I'm super proud of Jay, and we will continue doing what we do and serving the public extremely well in everything that we do. So, thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
I just told him he can't go. That was pretty easy. But yes, there are big shoes to fill. He's done so much for our city, and he will definitely be missed.
For sure.
Thank you for your service and dedication.
That was a shock that when I just heard it today, Greg, I didn't know.
Oh, so did we.
Yeah.
And that was shocking, and well, Jay and I, we go a long way too, you know. Anyways, I was so proud of him for you know, for his quality of his work and the way he grabs a grant and the capability of seeing ahead. So you're going to be missed.
Oh, definitely.
And I have to say, you've been very well received at Kern Council of Governments. The board, it was unanimous. He came to the top of the applicants, and we look forward at that board on a regional level now, and it's a new challenge for Jay coming in here, having one, I think you had one report when you first got here, so you were over one person, now you're over, how many people are at Kern Cog now? There's
18.
Yeah, so, but they're a regional board for all of our transportation, and they approve a lot of money, but he's got 11 bosses now to answer to, sometimes more, because you have 11 cities, and then at the transportation meeting, you have representatives from Caltrans, 2 districts, and from 2 county supervisors on that board, and then a member of the Edwards Air Force Base, JPPC, whatever that stands for, Joint Powers. But so it's a big board now that, you know, you have to, we have a limited amount of money and a lot of projects that we never have enough money to spend, but we seem to get them done over time. It's a very patient board, and everyone gets included at some point. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
You know, since I've joined city council, you know, if I've had questions, Jay's always been there and explained it to me in layman terms so I can understand all this, you know, engineering stuff. But I really do appreciate Jay. When I find out something, I'm trying to read up on it, and I Google it, and then I just call Jay. So, but he's been very forthcoming in helping me understand some of the things that we have to go through as a city council when we spend the taxpayers' money. So I want to make sure that we're doing it correctly. But with Jay's leadership, you've helped me out immensely. Thank you, Jay.
The city was lucky to have you, and Kern County's lucky to have you. So,
Right.
Yeah.
looking forward to see what you're going to do.
Okay, council member reports. Michael
Uh,
or Mr. Davies?
I have nothing other than I was going to make a comment about the honor flight. I got to attend that event with my father, and I said a little bit when to Steve earlier, but what an event you guys put on. It was wonderful. Saw a lot of. We went to all the memorials. It was just a wonderful day. I never served in the military, but I'm thankful for those who have and those who will. And again, it was just a wonderful day for our veterans, and my father immensely enjoyed himself, and he was kind of taken back. We talked about a little bit today, more about it, and I had a lot to take in that day, and so, and it was a wonderful day. Thanks again.
Just one item from the Kern Cog meeting, Caltrans District 9. They produced a video, and I think Claudia Elliott mentioned it. It's available on their website regarding the truck climbing lanes and how, and it was presented to us at a staff level over at the city for some of us. And I think they're coming out with a newer version of that And it's gonna be presented at Kern Cog here at the next meeting. And anyone can go on there and you can see, and some of it's very technical in that, but you can see why when you have certain projects, they just make everybody cross the median, they pave the median, you go on that side for a while. It might work on the desert, but in that area, the differential in the eastbound and westbound lanes is so great, you'd be having to dig up and build ramps just to get to the other, across the median. So it just didn't make a lot of sense, but they're gonna be dividing it up into the segments so that it's not gonna be the whole segment 2 of the truck climbing lane. It won't be the whole thing dug up at once, so it'll be phased so for a minimum amount of disruption. But just letting everyone, reiterating that video's online if you want to go and see it at Caltrans District 9.
Thank you, because I was wondering how they were gonna do that. I thought
Yeah,
this is gonna be
it's an engineering
Yeah.
issue to try to get that thing accomplished. And they'll be having like a tow truck for big rigs standing by all the time. So if something breaks down, they gotta have it all the time, every day. So, anyway.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jeanette, do you have anything?
Yep, the planning commission approved, last board meeting, they approved a project that I had put together on the reproduction of the Loop mural, which will be part of the Friends at the Depot's 15th anniversary, I believe. Key, is that right, on June 5th? Is it June 5th?
Yes.
Yes. So the time to be announced on that. And then on the 19th of June, the People of the Mountain mural will be unveiled with the restorations, Kauai Sioux drummers and prayers, and the Green family will be bringing artifacts from their families, baskets and everything else people can hold and ask questions. And then on the 26th, Tehachapi Cement is paying for the restoration of the monolith mural and updating the history on it. So it will reflect all of the businesses that have owned the cement factory. And that will be unveiled at the farmer's market at 4. So, and then that will be every mural tucked away.
Thank you. That's good to know. Hannah?
Well, I'm kind of sad for Charles, and I'm sad for Jay leaving, and so, well, best of the luck for you.
And, yes, agreed. And in my area or around town, I see a lot of happenings, road work, all kind of reconstruction, and it's just good to know. And
Just
see.
started.
I know.
It hasn't even started, really.
Really?
You just wait.
Oh, boy, okay, I can't wait, to be honest with you.
I can't, yeah. It's gonna be a great summer, probably the biggest summer ever on our books as far as
Wow.
improvements to our infrastructure.
That's great.
Mhm.
It's good to know, because I know the complaints I've had, and they might get taken care of.
Mhm.
So that'll be interesting. Do I have anything else? Okay, we need to go.
Jeanette, thank you for taking up the art and the murals and all of that. You've really run with it, and that's something that could fall to the wayside if you don't have someone out leading the charge, but thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, she has a vested interest in it.
Yes.
Tremendous. That nobody else has, I'm sure.
Well, Charles started that,
Yep.
and so
Ah,
I'm glad I can continue his
Yeah.
legacy and thumbprint in this community.
Absolutely, thank you.
good, thank you. We'll adjourn to closed session, and we'll come out and tell you if there's anything that needs to be said. So, okay, so meeting will be adjourned, and if you have any questions about